welcome to the deep dive. We are really thrilled to have you with us today because, well, we're looking at something that every single person listening to this has to navigate, whether you want to or not.
Oh yeah, completely unavoidable.
Right. It's professional networking and personal branding. But we are steering clear of the traditional advice today. We're not talking about handing out physical business cards at some local mixer or hotel lobby.
No, thankfully not.
Yeah. Instead, we're focusing entirely on mastering the art of digital networking to create continuous career and business opportunities.
And that requires a really fundamental shift in mindset.
Yeah.
You have to move away from the idea of active, exhausting networking events and start thinking about building a system that just works for you in the background.
Yeah, it's a passive system.
Exactly. And the foundation for our conversation today is a fascinating source text that explores exactly how to do that. We're pulling from a 2009 book. It's called 42 Rules for 24-Hour Success on LinkedIn by Chris Muccio, David Burns, and Peggy Murrah.
Now, I know what you're thinking. A 2009 text might sound like ancient history in internet years.
Practically the Stone Age.
Right. But our mission today is to unpack the timeless strategies of digital networking that are hidden within these pages. Because we want to help you set up a passive fish system that attracts career growth and business development while you literally sleep.
Because while the software interfaces, the buttons and the layouts, those might evolve over time, the human psychology doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
The core networking strategies laid out by these authors remain incredibly sharp today.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with one of the most compelling analogies from the text. The authors describe this little kid sitting on a dock.
Oh, I love this one.
It's so good. So he has his fishing rod in the water, but nothing is biting. He gets bored, he lays back, and he just takes a nap, leaving his baited hook in the water. And when he wakes up, bam, there's a fish on the line.
It is a perfect visualization of what 24-hour success actually means in a professional context. I mean, that kid on the dock, he didn't catch the fish because he was actively gripping the pole.
Right.
Or stressing over the water or staring at the bobber. He caught it because he prepared himself properly beforehand. He baited the hook and he left it in the right environment.
And in the digital networking world, that baited hook is your online profile.
Exactly. But before you even think about what kind of bait to use, you have to answer a crucial, highly specific question. Why are you on the platform in the first place?
Because if you don't define that goal, you're basically just throwing an empty hook into the ocean and hoping a fish accidentally swims into it.
Which is not a great strategy.
Not at all. And the authors break this down by looking at different risk profiles, which totally dictates your entire strategy.
They do, and it is a vital distinction to make. Because on one end of the spectrum, you have individuals with a high-risk profile.
The entrepreneur.
Right. The entrepreneurs, the independent consultants, commissions, sales professionals, people who generate their own income streams. For them, the primary goal online is pure business development. They need leads. They need revenue.
Survival.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on the other end of the spectrum, you have individuals who prefer the stability of a steady income. Employees, job seekers, corporate managers.
Yeah.
Their focus is completely different.
They aren't trying to generate immediate new sales.
No, their goal is career management. Stability. Staying plugged into a network that helps them advance over time. So benefiting from the platform means something wildly different depending on where you fall on that spectrum.
So true. And once you know your profile, once you know why you're there, you can finally focus on the bait itself.
The hook.
Yeah. The text points to the professional headline as the absolute most critical piece of real estate you have. They call this your 3-second brand statement. Or, I love this term, your bumper sticker.
Bumper sticker.
Yeah. Every single time your name appears in a search result, in an inbox, or on a forum, that bumper sticker travels right there with it. And the authors provide this side-by-side comparison to show just how much weight this carries.
Let's hear it.
So consider headline A. It says Bob Doe owner, Doe and Associates.
Okay.
Now compare that to headline B, John Doe, 20-year expert facilitating $100 million in high-tech mergers.
The contrast there is just striking. I mean, John Doe clearly articulates his business value, his industry, and his scale.
In a fraction of a second.
Right. While Bob Doe tells the viewer absolutely nothing of relevance, he literally forces them to guess what Doe and Associates even does.
Which nobody has time for.
Nobody. And this forces a question for you, the listener. What does your bumper sticker say about you right now? We live in a world of constant multitasking and rapid-fire decisions, and as the authors wisely state, activity is not achievement.
Man, that is a phrase that needs to be framed on a wall. Activity is not achievement. It completely reframes how we perceive being busy online.
It really does. Because you could have hundreds of connections, custom URLs you could be posting 10 times a day.
Yeah, just exhausting yourself.
Right. But if people cannot quickly ascertain your concrete business value from that tiny bumper sticker, they will simply scroll past you in the search results. All that frenetic activity yields zero achievement.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate. Even if you dial in a perfect bumper sticker, the sheer volume of users on these platforms leads to a massive problem, which is overwhelm.
Oh, huge overwhelm.
How does someone stand out among literally millions of users without just burning out entirely? To address this, the authors introduce a framework they call the CAP approach for audience growth. CAP.
The CAP approach.
Yeah.
It's a highly practical filter for cutting through the noise. Let's break down that acronym. The C stands for content.
Right.
The authors emphasize that while the platform's structural format might be, standardized and rigid, everyone has the same boxes to fill out, the content you inject into it should never be boring.
Never boring.
You need to be unique and original. They suggest describing yourself clearly, maybe using video links in your profile to break up the giant walls of text, and actively participating in group forums to really showcase your distinct voice.
Okay, so that's content. The A stands for awareness. The text talks about making yourself known to search engines and RSS aggregators by publishing your URL appropriately.
RSS aggregators.
Right, I know. RSS aggregators is a very 2009 term.
Oh.
But if we translate that to today's ecosystem, it simply means you need to signal the algorithms and the news feeds that your content is actually worth distributing.
You have to play the game.
Yeah, you cannot just whisper your message once into the void. You have to articulate it clearly and consistently to reach the people who actually need to hear it.
And that leads directly to the P, which stands for participate with passion.
Passion.
If you are going to engage, you have to put genuine energy into it. The authors explicitly warn against becoming a movie of the week.
A movie of the week, right.
Something that generates a tiny, fleeting flash of interest and is then completely forgotten by everyone. To highlight why this kind of passionate, sustained participation matters, they point to a staggering statistic from that era. They noted there were 225 billion pages of editorial content pumped out every single year.
225 billion. The amount of noise is just incomprehensible.
It is.
Yes.
And with that level of saturation, attention becomes an incredibly valuable currency. And the authors use a very culturally relevant example for 2009 to make their point here.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton, yes.
Yeah.
They note that regardless of anyone's personal opinion of her, she managed to make $6.3 million in a single year simply by getting and holding attention. She absolutely mastered the currency of awareness in a wildly crowded market.
What's fascinating here is the underlying shift the authors are pointing out. They argue that social media acts as the new mainstream media of the marketing age. People increasingly base their buying decisions, whether they're buying a product, a service, or even hiring a candidate, on the public experiences of others. So by optimizing your activities with this CAP approach, you give your customers and your network something positive and tangible to talk about. You essentially become the programming director of your own mainstream media channel.
And the audience for that channel is your network. The text compares digital networking to the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon game.
Classic.
But they argue that you really only need to focus on 3 degrees of separation to be effective.
Right. We all know the basic mechanics of how first, second, and third degree connections work. But the strategy behind managing them is where the real work lies. The authors dive into the classic debate of quality versus quantity when building that audience.
It's the eternal struggle.
It is. They make it clear that building a high-quality, deeply engaged network takes deliberate, sustained effort. But for those whose risk profile demands pure volume, they outline something called the LION strategy.
The Lions.
Yes, LION stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. By putting that acronym in your profile, you signal to the world that you agree to accept all invitations. Period.
It is a strategy designed for rapid, aggressive expansion.
Wait, but accepting all invitations unconditionally, doesn't that completely dilute the value of having a professional network in the first place? I mean, if you don't even know half the people on your list, how can you possibly leverage them?
That is the exact debate the authors highlight. It goes right back to the risk profiles we discussed earlier.
Haircut, the spectrum.
Exactly. If you are an independent consultant looking for the widest possible top-of-funnel awareness, the LION strategy might actually make sense for you. You want volume.
Cast a huge net.
Right. But for most users, precision is far more valuable than volume. If you aren't adopting the lion approach, you have to understand the underlying mechanics and the etiquette of invitations. Because when you receive an invite, you essentially have three options.
Right.
You can accept it, you can ignore it and just let it expire, or you can click, I don't know.
And clicking, I don't know, isn't just a neutral dismissal. It has serious back-end consequences.
It absolutely does. It flags the sender in the system. And if a user accumulates too many of those flags, their account can actually get restricted
Wow.
because the platform is designed to be a precision tool, not a blunt instrument for spammers. The authors strongly advise against carpet bombing strangers with requests.
So what's the alternative?
Instead, they recommend using your existing first and second degree network to prospect for account entry points. You identify key decision makers and find warm, mediated paths to reach them. Furthermore, they advise that you should primarily use the formal introduction feature for your second degree members,
Why specifically second degree?
because that ensures you know exactly who is seeing the request and mediating the connection. It keeps the relationship grounded in reality rather than just shouting into the void.
And that really is the core of it, isn't it? Relationship building. And relationships cannot be entirely one-sided. You can't just extract value from your network. You have to contribute to it.
You have to give back.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. The text points out that giving recommendations to other people actually provides a massive boost to your own visibility.
It's counterintuitive, but true.
Every single time you write a recommendation, your name, your face, and that powerful 3-second bumper sticker are permanently featured on the recipient's profile. It is a brilliant, built-in win-win.
Provided you write a high-quality recommendation.
Ah, yes, the caveat.
Because the quality of what you write reflects directly back on your own professional brand. The authors advise avoiding cutesy slang, empty buzzwords, and just generic praise. They provide a fantastic example of the difference between a bad recommendation and a great one.
Let's hear it.
So instead of writing something totally forgettable like, Johnny works hard,
Which means nothing.
right, you should aim for extreme specificity. They suggest something like, Johnny's dedication to the team was clearly observed in his coming and numerous days at 4 a.m. to support the European team before the rest of the company arrived for work.
That 4 a.m. detail does so much heavy lifting. It proves Johnny's dedication, sure, but it also proves that the person writing the recommendation is an observant, highly professional colleague who actually recognizes specific operational value. It takes a complete microstory.
It really does. And beyond recommendations, the authors highlight another powerful method for contributing to the network, which is answering industry questions.
Oh, yes.
Providing thoughtful public answers to complex questions showcases your expertise to a really wide audience. But again, the execution determines the value.
Right. It's how you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They give another clear comparison here. If someone asks a public question about, say, how to identify target customers, a terrible, useless answer is, I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, man.
Right? It helps no one, and it just makes the author look totally arrogant.
Yeah, totally useless.
A brand-building answer, according to the text, is something detailed, like I look at age, income, sex, marital status, geographic location, types of print media used. You're sharing actionable knowledge.
And by doing so, you are passively broadcasting your competence. Anyone who searches for that topic or reads that thread sees your expertise on full display. And this level of public transparency completely revolutionized the hiring process, which is a major theme in the source text.
That changed everything.
For recruiters and employers, the authors note that being able to view a candidate's profile, read their public answers, and see their recommendations is almost like reality TV for the hiring process.
That's a great way to put it. It allows employers to quietly observe how a candidate interacts in a professional setting and vet their references long before the first interview is ever scheduled.
Before they even shake hands.
Exactly. But the advantage doesn't solely belong to the employers. For job seekers, the text introduces the highly strategic concept of reverse reference checks.
I love this concept.
It's so empowering. You can use the platform to investigate your prospective employers just as thoroughly as they are investigating you. You can track down past employees to get the unvarnished truth about the company culture.
The real story.
Right. You can even assess the overall health and stability of a company by looking at the turnover rate of their staff on the platform. If you see a mass exodus of talent in a specific department, that is a glaring red flag that you can spot before you ever accept an offer.
It levels the playing field tremendously. To help manage all of this reconnaissance and network building, the authors highlight some very practical, almost nerdy tools that can give you an edge.
The nerdy tools are the best tools.
They are. They mention a company insider widget that users could embed on their personal blogs, allowing visitors to instantly see how they are connected to companies the blogger lists. But even more practically, they strongly advocate using the export feature to download your entire list of connections into a .csv file.
Exporting that data is a highly effective tactic. By pulling your network into a spreadsheet program like Excel, you regain total control over the data.
You own it.
You do. You can sort, rank, categorize, and manage your network with incredible precision, rather than being forced to scroll through a rigid alphabetical list on the platform itself. It turns a static list of names into a dynamic database for career and business development.
It really is the kind of back-end administrative work that separates the active networkers from the people who are just, passing time online.
Just scrolling.
Yeah. Now, as we mentioned at the beginning, this text was published in 2009.
Yeah.
And looking back at it provides this amazing historical context that is sometimes quite humorous. The authors actually include a list of warning signs for LinkedIn addiction.
Oh, this list is great.
It's so funny. They suggest you might be addicted if you find yourself getting visibly angry when the site is slow to load, or if you actively choose browsing profiles over reading a book. But my absolute favorite warning sign is that you have a problem if you start dreaming of your real-life friends strictly as first or second-level connections.
Having algorithmic dreams.
Exactly.
It is a lighthearted look at how quickly these digital structures began mapping onto our real-world psychology. But alongside the humor, the authors made some profoundly serious projections about the future of the industry.
They really did.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, they offered a fascinating crystal ball prediction for 2009. They speculated that Microsoft might eventually purchase LinkedIn.
Wow.
And their reasoning was strictly strategic. They argued that Microsoft would inevitably need to bump up against Google in the realms of paid search and cloud computing. Acquiring a platform with millions of verified white-collar professionals would be a massive defensive play and an absolute demographic goldmine for Microsoft.
And to have put that prediction into print back then is an incredible piece of foresight. I mean, we are strictly reporting what the authors wrote in the source text, but you have to admire their ability to read the tea leaves of the tech sector.
It's impressive.
It demonstrates just how deeply they understood that this network was never just a digital Rolodex. It was destined to become a massive shifting ecosystem of professional data and human capital.
It underscores the entire premise of the text.
Yeah.
The platform is an engine, and you have to know how to build the machinery around it to make it work for you.
Absolutely. So let's bring all of these concepts together. Our mission today was to unpack the timeless strategies for setting up a passive 24-hour networking system.
Which we've done.
We discussed the absolute necessity of starting with a clear goal based on your specific risk profile, whether you need leads or career stability. We explored crafting a powerful 3-second bumper sticker that cuts through the noise and clearly states your value.
John Doe over Bob Doe.
Every time. We broke down the CAP approach: content, awareness, passion as a filter to prevent you from becoming a forgotten movie of the week.
Don't be the movie of the week.
Never. And we detailed how to strategically manage your first, second, and third-degree networks using precision, reverse reference checks, and high-quality recommendations rather than blind carpet bombing.
And through all of these tactics, you must remember that your online presence is projecting your professional brand to the world 24 hours a day. Whether you are an entrepreneur hunting for your next client or a manager navigating a long-term career path, your profile is always speaking for you, even when you aren't in the room.
So what does this all mean? We've talked extensively about setting up your digital profile to work for you while you sleep, acting as that baited hook in the water. But as artificial intelligence and automated networking tools become increasingly advanced, it raises a new question to consider. Are we approaching a future where our carefully crafted digital avatars are simply networking with other digital avatars?
That's a wild thought.
Right. And if that automated future is already here, how do you ensure the distinctly human element of your professional brand doesn't get entirely lost in the machine? I mean, if your profile is acting as your baited hook in the water while you sleep, what exactly are you fishing for? And is your current 3-second bumper sticker using the right bait?
That is a complex and highly necessary question to leave our listeners with. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of 24-hour success. Keep refining your systems and keep analyzing the tools you use.
Until next time, keep your hooks baited.